Go. Okay, so here we are in our breathwork for lung health, and I'm really excited. Sometimes, I get a lot of people, sort of 12, 13, 14 people, but you know what? I really like it when there's just a few of us, so we can kind of get to know each other, have a bit more of an intimate space, and really explore some of these different breathwork techniques. So my name's Benedict. I'm the founder of Breathing Space School of Breathwork. Now, I created this course about 2 or 3 months ago because it kind of, when we all went into lockdown, I thought this is a respiratory infection that we get. It affects people's lungs. And there's all sorts of research done for finding a vaccine, but there isn't just much about how can we keep our lungs in top health. How can we do that? Now, my own story of becoming a breathwork facilitator started when I was very little, and I had chronic asthma. And I had asthma all of my life, and I would be very prone to chest infections and bronchitis and all sorts. So even up to an adult, even up into my 40s, I would still get, every time I get ill, it would go into my chest. It would just seize up and get like horrible green, horrible gunked up. And I'd be taking Ventolin or salbutamol and Becotide, which is a steroid. I didn't really want to be on medication all my life. And I always had this idea that it was going to be my lungs that would get me in the end. I just had an idea that it would be my lungs that killed me. I discovered breath work and breathing about 6 years ago. And I trained to be a facilitator about 3 or 4 years ago. And I'm not going to make any wild claims because I don't really believe in them. I don't think it serves breath work. But I am no longer asthmatic anymore. I don't have any real problems with my lungs. I have a really healthy set of lungs now. I still have my inhalers, and I use them maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks, just in case. Whereas instead of using it twice a day, gone, and no steroids. There are other health benefits that I've noticed in myself, in terms of like blood pressure dropping. I was in the 140s when I was in my late 30s. I'm around like 122, 123, especially if I do some breath work first. So there are definite health benefits around like that. So that's a little bit about me. I'm from England, you can tell from my accent, but I live in Canada. I think that's all I need to say to get started. We've got an hour and a half. If it goes a little under, that's absolutely fine. I've got about 4 or 5 exercises that we're going to be doing together, but I also open this space up if you've got any exercises that that you like to do to help with your lung health, because I often get kind of yoga teachers in here or other breathwork facilitators or people who've got an exercise that they would like to share. And I'm just seeing Sarah's, we are going to definitely have access to this afterwards. Okay, so you'll have access to the recording, no problem. Okay, so that's a little bit about me. That's a little bit about why I created this course. What I think I'd like to do together, and I do this quite a lot, it's a bit strange at first, but when you get into it, it's one of the most amazing things that you can do whenever you are with someone or a group of people. Rather than people being distracted, looking at their phones or kind of thinking about the washing up or what they're going to have for dinner or the kids or whatever, to bring people really together into a room, I do a really simple exercise, and that is just taking some breaths together. Okay, so we are going to just take some breaths together. We're going to take maybe between 5 and 10 breaths together. And as we breathe, I want you to really, really feel your presence in the room. And we just had someone join, Raluca, a great name, lovely to have you here. If you feel comfortable to turn your camera on, please do. But let's just find yourself in a comfortable position. And as you breathe, we'll take the first few breaths with our eyes closed to come into yourself. Then I'd like you to open your eyes and we'll start connecting with everyone else in the room. Okay, so I'm going to unmute everyone. And let's start taking some breaths. Close your eyes. And then just feel how good it feels to breathe. Now, as you breathe with your eyes closed, check in with yourself. How do you physically feel at the moment? What does your body feel like? And how do you emotionally feel? So how do you physically feel and what are you feeling emotionally? We'll be checking with that in a little while. When you're ready, I would like you to open your eyes, and if you can, go onto gallery view so we can see everyone in the room, and just take some breaths and really connect with the people in the room. Maybe one more big breath together. Great. Okay, well done, everyone. Give yourselves a tap, give yourselves a clap. That's our first breath work for lung health done. Okay. Now I use this little technique just to tap ourselves, just in case we go off too far in our rounds. Now that doesn't seem like a big deal. Okay, that first exercise, just simple breathing and checking in with yourself. And then breathing and checking in with others. But it is a remarkably powerful exercise to do. It's really profound. Just to take some breaths to go inside and really check how you're feeling, and then check in with others. You know, so many times we don't like to feel things. We don't like to know how we're feeling, especially if there's discomfort there. We'll take a painkiller, we'll distract ourselves. Any kind of discomfort, we'll think, oh, don't want to feel that. And not knowing how we're feeling, not being able to just be with what our bodies are feeling, is one of the reasons that we get ill. We push it down, we suppress, we distract ourselves, we take a painkiller, we don't allow ourselves to feel. But something magical happens when we do. We find that we're not overwhelmed with pain or sensation. We actually can just be with ourselves. And that is an amazing, like when I started doing that, it was like a light bulb going off in my head. It was like, oh, okay, I feel sad. I feel shitty. My shoulders are hurting. Okay, I won't try and do anything about it. I'm just going to sit with that. And after a while, those feelings and those sensations start to move, and the emotions behind it start to move. And then connecting with people. Now, we are isolated at the moment. You know, we're in lockdown or in various stages of communication with people. We don't get our normal levels of communication with people. But even when we are not in lockdown, what is it like to really connect with someone and to really kind of just be in presence with someone? Because that's something we don't do often much as well. Again, whilst we're with someone, we might get distracted by something else, about worrying about our parents or our children or the work that we've got to do or money. When we just breathe on someone and we really connect to them, it's, again, something magical happens. We are able to be in presence, and that is something extraordinary as well. And that just cannot help but help with our physical health, because it helps with our emotional well-being as well. We are social creatures, and we need that connection with each other, even if it's just a little bit. Okay. Any questions so far? I realise I've just been talking for about 10 minutes, and I never mean to do that. And I love the sound of my voice, obviously, because I'm a teacher. But you know what? I think it's time I started to hear some about you and about where you are. So just like before, we're going to just check in. How are you feeling? How are you physically feeling? And how are you emotionally feeling? Because the two are really connected. Now I'm going to pause the recording on this bit, because if you feel you want to share something about yourself, I want this to be a held space where you can do that. And it's not going to be recorded for anyone else to look at. And I encourage you to, say how you're really feeling, because any emotion around here is fine, whether that's the negative emotions like sadness or fear or anger or anything like that. But it can just be something pleasant as well. But just, I really encourage you to be authentic and be honest. So maybe just, you don't have to close your eyes, but just how are you feeling? All right, emotionally, and how are you feeling physically? Okay. So my name's Ben, and I'll check in first, record it, and then I'll pause the recording. So my name's Ben. I'm feeling kind of really full up at the moment. I've been working really hard this morning. My head is like full of writing and pressure, and I'm really feeling it in my shoulders because I've been tapping around, and my head feels like a pressure cooker. So that's how I'm feeling this morning. Now I'm going to invite you all to kind of feel that with me, including people who are watching this on catch up, by taking a breath together. And if you want to like put your hands where I'm feeling it, my shoulders and in my head, let's take a breath with feeling full up and like you're about to explode. Just take a breath. Thank you. Okay. So breath work for lung health. Now we're going to be going through 3 or 4 different exercises that I will lead you in. However, I like to kind of make this an open space. So if there is an exercise that you have that you would like to share, and it doesn't have to be breath work, it could be just a movement, it could be something else completely different that you think has helped you or you know about, then we'll have some space to open that up. Is that cool, everyone? Are we ready for our first exercises? Should we have a thumbs up? Okay. So the first exercise we're going to do is called a lung stretch. Now, this is something that I learned when I was training to be a facilitator. And I now do it before ever I do a breath work live in person. I will always do this exercises because it does 2 things. First of all, it helps increase the volume of our lungs. So we'll, over time, the more we do it, we'll find our capacity grows, but it also increases the elasticity of our lungs. So its ability to kind of grow and shrink and grow and shrink. There aren't any contraindications with this. Best not to do standing up. If you suffer from extremes of blood pressure or glaucoma, again, because it includes breath holds, go very gently with this. Maybe don't go to the full extent. Apart from that, there aren't really any lung conditions. And when we do breath work, by the way, we always take responsibility for our own health. And that means you go to a depth and a comfort that is right for you. Don't push yourself. Don't try and break anything. You don't get any prizes for, being a Superman with this. So just go to a level and a depth and a speed that feels comfortable for you. And especially if you've got blood pressure issues, just go gently with this one. So I'll be leading us in it, but it's a very simple. We inhale to our full capacity and we hold. We take a sip, more breath, and then we hold. And then we take a sip, more breath, and then we exhale gently through the nose. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. So let's just get yourself steady. Now we're going to be breathing through the nose. So let's inhale through the nose until you are absolutely full. And then we hold 1, 2, 3. And then we take a sip more. 1, 2, 3. And then a sip more. And then exhale gently through the nose. Now let's do that again. Inhale fully through the nose and go slowly as you inhale. Gently fill up your lungs until they're full. And then hold. 2, 3. Take a sip more. 1. Sip more. 2. And then exhale. Gently through the nose. And we'll do this one last time. And we're going to make this even longer and stronger. So when you're ready, inhale gently through the nose. And when you're full, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then inhale a bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then a bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then a little bit more. 1, 2, and maybe a bit more if you can. And then gently exhale. And then we can give ourselves a little shake, maybe a little tap, just to come back into the room. Feel our bodies again. Okay, are there any questions around that exercise there? It's fine if there aren't. So I do this exercise before I do a breath work. It's a good one to do as soon as you wake up in the morning, and also quite a good one to do at the end of the day. It's something you can do lying down, and there aren't any special movements. You can play around with it as well. It's also really good to do before you do any exercise. So, before I used to go running, I used to do this because you are literally stretching your lungs and readying them to kind of take on more oxygen. So before you do any physical exercise, it is also a really, really good little practice to do. So any questions around that? No, it's fine if there aren't any questions. You don't have to do it for 3 seconds and 3 times. You can play around with it. You could just do it for like 2 seconds if holding it for 3 is too much, or if you feel able to, if your lungs are in that state, you can hold it for longer and take more sips to stretch your lungs. The slower that you inhale, the more capacity your lungs can take. So if you just go, your lungs will not hold as much as if you breathe in slowly. And that's to do with the resistance and the elasticity of the lungs. I can't remember the exact reason. Lisa, go ahead.
I was just going to say, why is that?
So I'm not a medically trained anatomist or physiologist, but obviously I've picked up a lot, and I've trained with people who have. We had a really an amazing, knowledgeable breath worker called Anastasis come in to one of our seminars, and he explained that, and he said it was because of the resistance of the air when it comes in slowly through your nose and your throat. Your lungs are able to expand more. And unfortunately, I don't know why. I can find out for you. I'm sure Anastasis will tell me that if I ask him. Good question though, because I don't know why. Any ideas?
No, I know you get more nitric oxide through the nose, but that's not got to do with, that's about the blood vessels dilating, not the capacity of the lungs.
Yeah, and we'll come on to that actually, the nitrous oxide, in a little while actually. Okay, shall we move on to the next little exercise then? Are you ready? Okay, so this is almost the exact opposite of our lung stretching. We're going to come on to lung emptying now. And we're going to do this in 2 ways. The first one is a practice that actually my wife taught me. My wife, Jen, is a nurse. And this is a technique that's used to help people clear their lungs. And there was a video that went around a couple of weeks ago from a doctor in the NHS who did a little video live for this. And interestingly, it wasn't the doctor who knew this. He said, "I've never heard of this technique." And he panned to the head of nursing who taught him this technique, because they have to deal with this and do this kind of thing every day with their patients. So it's actually a technique that nurses use to help people kind of clear from their lungs. So if you imagine your lungs, and especially if you have build-up or fluid in your lungs, it can be difficult to get rid of. Your lungs aren't muscles, there's just soft tissue. And when we're standing up, obviously gravity pushes, you know, stuff down. So with this exercise, we're really going to try and like clear our lungs, and we're going to bring some of that fluid up. So when I used to get ill and my lungs would clog up, I used to do a lot of hacking and coughing to try and clear my lungs. And this is a kind of a sort of, I don't know, a sort of structured way to do that, to help clear fluid from your lungs or any congestion. It's also very good because stale air can get stuck in your lungs as well. You know, if you imagine it, about clearing not just fluid but also air from your lungs as well. So we get a refreshing, the air actually in our lungs get refreshed as well. And we're going to do two techniques on this. One is the nursing technique, and then one is a pranayama technique. Any questions about this? Now, if you've got an infection or if your lungs are sensitive, you have to go very gently. If your lungs are hypersensitive or they're inflamed or they've got an infection on, you don't want to be doing this too hard because it can hurt. It is possible you could really damage your lung tissue if it's very sensitive. So again, always we go at a pace and to a depth and at a speed that is comfortable for us. So it's really simple. Instead of inhaling fully, we're going to exhale fully. And then we're going to cough into our arms or into our hands to help clear. So I'll demonstrate it first, and then I'll lead us all through it. So we inhale gently through the nose, and then we exhale until we're empty. And then when we're empty, we cough. Okay, so it's that simple. And then after that, we're going to go into a pranayama technique, which is a bit more structured to help that in another way. Ready? We all good to have a go? Joanna, got your hand up.
Do you exhale through your nose? Does it matter?
When you're coughing, you're going to be coughing out through your mouth. But
no, but when
you're exhaling,
you breathe in, yeah.
I always recommend breathing through your nose unless specifically told otherwise. It won't matter too much. I would say breathe through your nose. But it's up to you.
Okay.
You can play around.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, let's have a go then. So inhale fully through the nose, and then exhale. And then when you're ready, cough. Okay, let's do that again. And then we'll try that one last time. Inhale fully. Exhale. And then when we come back, we'll just tap on our chest like this. So this is another technique that is used in medicine, you know, especially for people, you know, with inflamed lungs to help loosen it. My mum used to do this a lot on me when I was little and I was congested. Again, you'll just help simply to loosen any congestion in your lungs. Okay, so that is one of the lung clearing exercise. The second one we're going to do is a pranayama technique, which pranayama comes from, is a yoga exercise. Prana means life force, and yama is one of the kind of exercises. It's kind of life force breathwork kind of exercise. And we're going to be doing something called Kapalabhati, or breath of fire. Has anyone come across breath of fire before? Amazing. Okay, so I won't have to do too much. I am a qualified yoga teacher, but it was a while ago I did my teacher training, and I don't really do many classes at the moment, so I'm a little bit rusty. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be on an empty lungful. We're going to be contracting our stomach, sort of pulling it in and pushing out the breath. And what we're kind of physically doing there is we are, by using our stomach muscles, we are activating our diaphragm to kind of really push up and clear our lungs. Like that. So it's a short contraction of the abdomen, which will then kind of just lifts the diaphragm up through a kind of physical action and really helps clear the lungs. Contraindications on this one: if you're in early or unstable pregnancy, you have to go, probably not advisable in the first trimester, because you are physically moving your abdomen around a lot, which potentially could dislodge or kind of just be a bit damaging to anything that's happening there. So if that's the case, please don't do this exercise. Okay, or just go really gently, or just really gently on your abdomen. So let's inhale fully, and then exhale fully. I'll stand up for this bit so you can see. And there's do this 10 more times. And then inhale, and then exhale. Okay, we did it for about 15 there. We're going to do 30 of those breath of fires now. Okay, so the kind of 30 inhaling, sort of sharp exhaling as we contract our stomach muscles as we do that. And then I will teach you something else for the final round. So look, we're going to do inhale, exhale, and then 30 breaths of fire. All cool with that? Yeah. Okay, so inhale through the nose. Exhale fully. And then in your own time, count 30 of these breaths of fire. Okay, now I've seen some hands up for those people who know yoga already. How many people know lion's breath? Yes. Okay, Lisa, I can see you demonstrated there. So this is one where we get to be really silly. We get to own our inner child and pull faces at each other. If you haven't seen it before, I think, Sarah, you didn't put your hand up. We stick our tongue out, we roll our eyes up, and we make kind of sounds as well. Okay. Now, when I used to live in Exeter in Devon in England, and I used to have an amazing teacher called Fran Allen at Derek the Dog Yoga yoga school, and we used to do this every single time, and she would really go for it when she did her lion's breath, and it's such a way to kind of cleanse your lungs. So I really encourage you, when we do our lion's breath at the end, to really go for it. You'll hear me doing it. You can make whatever sounds you want, some rasping, growling, getting it all out kind of sounds, are perfectly welcome here. Okay, so we're going to do 30 breaths of fire, and then we will go straight into the lion's breath. Okay, ready? So inhale fully through the nose. Exhale fully. And then when you're ready, 30 breaths of fire. There we go. I hope that wasn't too frightening, hearing me making my Gollum sounds. Now there is one more stage that we can do if we want to, which is a kind of extension of the breath of fire. Have you heard of your bandhas? Oh yeah, Sarah, go ahead.
When we're doing the, I found that one really difficult. The sort of pumping the breath.
Yeah, breath of fire.
When you're doing it, are you breathing in and out while you're doing it, or are you always breathing out?
It's a great question, and there are actual two different variations to this. One where you just breathe out, and one where you breathe in as well. You're not kind of gasping in. When you exhale forcefully, and then when you relax, air will just naturally come in.
Oh,
So,
I thought you were wanting us to hold our breath, and
I
was like,
you can do it like that.
you can get past 10.
It is possible. That's a different variation on it, and there's no harm in that, and it's good, something good to play around with. But just generally, so you exhale, and then just naturally, when your body kind of contracts, you will inhale again. That's easier, to be honest. It's a more advanced practice to just do it on one breath, which you can do. Did I see another hand up there? A question about this. Okay. Another addition to this, if you do the breath of fire, after the breath of fire and before you do the lion's breath, have you heard of your bandhas? So you've got your kind of Mula bandha, you've got your Jalanda bandha, which is your throat lock, and then you've got something in the middle called your Uddiyana bandha, which is a lock here. And we used to practice this. So we do our breaths of fire like this, and then we would sort of stand up, and we would just like with our breath holding, we would go sort of suck in our stomach and push our diaphragm up. So it's almost like breath of fire, but with not exhaling at all. It's just your sucking your stomach up and pushing your diaphragm up. So that was an Uddiyana bandha exercise. So it's literally sort of like sucking your stomach in with your breath holding. And when you get really good at it, like I've got some friends who are have got these perfect yoga bodies, and he can make his stomach ripple in all different directions and things like that. And when he does it, his stomach kind of ripples. Lisa,
you're doing it when you're holding your breath out.
You do it empty.
Yeah.
When your breath's fully empty, after you've done your breaths of fire, and you're fully empty.
You exhale, then you do it.
This was just the technique that I was taught by my teacher in Exeter, and we'd do that kind of that sequence. We'd do 30 breaths of fire. Natalie has to go, so let's give Natalie a wave. Okay. Thank you for joining us, Natalie. Lovely to see Eden and Spider-Man. So you can do them all separately. They don't have to be done in a sequence, but it's a nice little sequence to do together. I suggest you do it by yourself, not out in public. But if you're brave, go ahead and do it in public. That's great as well. Any other questions around that? Again, this is lung emptying. So this is all about kind of clearing stale air, clearing congestion from your lungs. Raluca, did I see your hand up? Go ahead, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Okay, so with Uddiyana bandha, after you practice the breath of fire, when you empty your stomach completely, the diaphragm will form a vacuum, and then it will just suck in the belly in.
That's right.
So that's another way to explaining it, because you're doing it naturally. You don't force anything.
You don't force anything. Exactly.
But you have to lock. You have to do the lock on your chin.
You have to do the Jalanda bandha lock as well.
Yeah. If you don't do the lock, then it's not going to happen.
Okay. That's great. I didn't know about that. So thank you for explaining that.
And you have to be in the position. So when you're bending, you kind of press with your arm into your thighs and you do the lock.
I used to do it like this.
Yeah. But see, you're pressing with your hands into your arms, but probably nobody taught you about that. So when you're pressing, you're lengthening your spine, and then you do the lock on your chin, and the vacuum is happening naturally.
Okay. Great. Oh, that's why I love this, because I learned something as well. There's always someone who knows more than me, by the way, whenever we have these seminars. So thank you, Raluca. That's a great...
We never know everything. That's why I hop in on every pranayama workshop I can find, just to see how others are teaching. It is a way to improve myself.
Perfect. Perfect. You're so welcome, and thank you for that. Okay. Any other questions about those lung clearing? And there's, the different variations, kind of some from the yoga kind of lineage and history, some from the medical, but it's all about clearing congestion and phlegm and stale air, really pulling that energy up. And, if you like energy, for instance, and talking about that, there's a lot of benefits from that kind of side of things as well. Any questions around those two exercises, lung stretching or lung clearing? Okay, well, listen, why don't we throw it open right now? We've already gone 50 minutes. Can you believe that? Does anyone else have a technique or something that they would like to share, or something they've experienced or that they know about that everyone might benefit on? And it's fine if there isn't. I've got loads of things we can do, but I like to hear more things. Does anyone have? So if you've got a technique and you could lead us in a short breath work. Raluca, was that a hand up there? Go on then. There you go.
So I have two of them that are my favorite.
Great.
The alternate nostril breathing and the bumblebee breath.
Okay.
The bumblebee breath.
So let's take a vote on this, and we could probably do two. Who, if you would like to do the bumblebee breath first, put your hands up.
I think that will be the last one to do, so everybody will leave relaxed.
Okay. All right.
Because the alternate nostril breathing, you need a little bit more focus.
Sure.
So
actually, we'll do the alternate nostril breathing first, and then I'm going to ask you to leave the bumblebee breath in a little while, actually, because that ties in nicely with another breath work that we do. Okay. Let's do. Sorry, everyone. We're overruling. We're going to do the alternate nostril breathing. I know, what a dictator I am. Okay, Raluca, so when you're ready, if you would like to explain and then maybe lead us through a couple of minutes of alternate nostril breathing, that would be fantastic.
Yes, so the benefits of the alternate nostril breathing is balancing the two hemispheres of the brain and the energetic body and the physical and spiritual body. So the way we do it, on your right palm, you bend in the 3 fingers into your palm. And then you have the pinky and the thumb open up to play. And it's going to be very easy to cover your nostril. We start by covering the right nostril with your big thumb. And you inhale through your left nostril. And after you cover your left nostril and you exhale through the right. Inhale through the right, cover the right, exhale through the left. And I'm going to guide you. I don't know how advanced you are. I usually, if I don't know, people start with inhaling for 3 and exhaling for 6. If you feel you feel you have more air, you can inhale for 4 and exhale for 8. So this is based on everyone's practice. And I will count to 3, and then you can raise your hand. Benedict is gonna see you and he will say, okay, we jump to 4. If you feel you have more air to go. Okay, so let's cover up your right nostril. Inhale, 3, 2, 1. Cover your left nostril. Exhale through the right. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Cover your right nostril. Exhale left. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more round. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Cover your left nostril. Exhale. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Cover your right nostril. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Should we do more?
Yeah, let's do a couple more. I was just getting into that.
Okay, so cover your right nostril. Inhale to the left. 1, 2, 3. Cover your left. Exhale to the right. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And let's inhale to 4 now. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Cover your left. Exhale 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cover your right nostril. Exhale 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How was that?
That was fab. That was really fabulous.
Thank
and
you.
I also, yeah, I love that balancing aspect that has. And also I love the way that you cued it with the exhale twice as long as the inhale, because that's another breath technique just by itself, where you make the exhale longer than the inhale. Generally, the inhales are more activating and more stimulating, and the exhales are more calming, more restful, more passive. So to bring the two is very powerful.
Yeah, one of my teachers said we are doing that naturally, just that we are not aware. And for every inhale that we take, usually we have 2 exhales. So if we're doing naturally, we just have to, and this is another way to increase pulmonary capacity. And you have, by counting and by getting from this week, when you know your inhalation is to 4, and next week you're gonna get to 5, you can definitely see how easy it is to increase your pulmonary capacity. And then it's very, very relaxing.
Very relaxing. I use that one if I wake up in the middle of the night and can't get back to sleep, actually. You know, just counting my exhales and making sure that they're twice as long as the inhales. A couple of other things. My wife is very sensitive about her nostrils. She hates this. She gets this kind of primal fear that her nostrils are not going to pop up. So it is possible to do it just with your thumb over the hole, but it is also possible to just imagine that you are doing it, and to just
with enough practice, you'll get there. You'll be able to close the nostril just by focusing on it, and not allowing the air to go in. But that takes a little bit of practice.
Yeah, it does. And so just imagining that that's happening is a really valid technique. Amazing. Okay, does anyone have any other breath techniques that they would like to share right now? And it's fine if there isn't anyone, but you know, I love to invite other people up to demonstrate something. Does anyone else have anything? Okay, well, let's have a think, and I'll just ask it before we finish as well. And it doesn't matter what they are. They can be really silly and really fun as well, because I like to bring a bit of humor into this as much as possible. Okay, so the next breath work that we're going to do isn't so much a technique as more as an approach, more as a kind of general thing to practice. One of the big influences on me and my understanding of breathing was a book called The Oxygen Advantage by Patrick McKeown. And I'll write that up in the chat box a little bit later. The Oxygen Advantage by Patrick McKeown. Now, he studied with Buteyko, who was a very famous breath worker from the 80s in the Soviet bloc. And he worked a lot with people with asthma. And his idea or his philosophy was that people were breathing too much. They were excessively breathing. And so he encouraged people to breathe less, specifically breathe through the nose. Now, later on when I studied the oxygen advantage and Patrick McCown, there is a physiological explanation for this, and it's to do with mouth breathing. Generally, we breathe, as a culture, we breathe too much through our mouths. And when we're breathing through our mouths, we're breathing too much. Now, our nose is specifically designed for breathing. There's all sorts of equipment and apparatus inside our nose to help. So just the nose hairs help filter the air. Nitrous oxide will help sterilize the air. Your nasal passages help warm and moisten the air as it comes into your lungs. Obviously, we were talking earlier about the resistance that the air comes in. It means you can breathe more. So his idea, his big thing is to breathe more through your nose all the time. And it's not something to just, do it once and then you forget about it. It's just being aware and conscious when you're breathing to try and breathe through your nose rather than through your mouth. Joanna, I saw your hand up there.
Yeah, I was going to say I totally agree with that. However, I genetically breathe through my mouth when I'm asleep.
I'm going to come on
and
to
yeah, and I don't know how to stop it. And I wake up in the morning and I'm like, like everything's wrong about it. I've not slept as well. Go on.
I'll show you. This is what I've started doing when I go to bed at night.
Have you put a tape on it? I've just bought some.
So
Are you getting on with it?
Great.
Right, amazing.
This is micropore tape that I start using. These days I just, oh, nice. Oh, you've got them already. Amazing.
Yeah.
So, Lisa, have you started using those yet? What's your experience of them? Hang on. You'll have to unmute yourself, I think.
I never get that, why sometimes you can unmute people and sometimes you can't.
I don't know why that is either.
Anyway, this is called Simply Breathe. I don't know if it's backwards in there. I use the same one night after night. I don't know what they cost, but I just use it and then I save it for the next day. It's more comfortable than the micropore thing, but obviously it's a lot more expensive. Yeah. I've just played things that I've been trying. I've studied the oxygen advantage. So I think naturally I'm a mouth breather. I tried it like a year ago and I just sort of didn't get on with it that well, but I thought, I know that it's good for me. I'm going to give it another go. So I've been doing it recently and it kind of becomes a black routine. It's like, it's bedtime now and it kind of feels cozy. And I think I am sleeping better. I mean, sometimes I go to bed too late, so I'm not sleeping enough, although I've changed that recently. But I think I do. I mean, I wouldn't say, some people, like Patrick McCoon says, oh, you do it and then you have the best night's sleep you've ever had. Then I wouldn't say it was that. Yeah. And I'm still a little bit congested, but I think it does help. For sure.
What about, I think the thing for me is how your breath tastes and smells in the morning as well when your mouth breathes.
Okay.
I'm going off what my daughter tells me, by the way.
Oh, I know. I mean, they say that.
And they say gum disease, don't they? Can cause
And in your mouth, you lose a lot of water and everything through your mouth.
Yeah.
So I think this is. I mean, he says if you can't manage it at night, then you do it in the daytime till you get used to it, because some people can feel suffocated or something. So you've got,
it's like you said, I think natural, I'm a natural mouth breather, but I'm conscious of it throughout the day. I do a lot of yoga, so I'm consciously aware. It's just as soon as I go to sleep. But,
if you can bear it, then wear one of these, But I heard a story by Dan Brulé. Don't know if you know Dan.
Yeah.
So he related this story once, how he was teaching somewhere. I can't remember all the details, but he met a guy I think might have been Russian. So his family were following the Buteyko technique. And when he was young, they taped his mouth up. I mean, I don't think you should be doing it with little kids. And he developed sort of I don't know, abnormally. You know, he just wasn't getting enough oxygen to his body, and he became socially awkward and all sorts of problems. So obviously, if someone's got, I don't know, polyps or a really serious problem, I think.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was interesting when he said that. But yeah, I've been doing this for a little while now, and you know, I tried Micropore. I like to try different things. There's something called Somni something or other that you can get on Amazon, and that one's got like a little gap in the middle bit, so you can breathe if you need to. But
I don't know what mine's not arrived yet, so I don't know exactly what I've got. I've just thought I might as well start off with something.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
I wanted to ask you, Ben, like how you were talking about, you know, the exercise to expand the lungs and so the elasticity is better. But if you're following what Patrick McKeown says, and he talks about breathing light and deep and whatever, you know, not very much, then why would you want to expand the lungs as much as you can?
Why would you want to have the capacity, you know, in case you needed it to?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
You know, I don't think there's I've seen a lot of people kind of saying that there's, you know, Patrick McKeown at one end and, you know, Buteyko together about breathing less, and there's other people who encourage you to breathe more. Really, I think the two are not in conflict. I think they're complementary very much. There's sometimes, mostly, I think we should breathe through our nose. You know, that's what our nose is designed for. There are occasions when we need to breathe through our mouth. For instance, if we're doing a conscious breath work, or we're in that kind of fight or flight situation that we need that sudden hit of it. You know, there are situations, it's not an either or. Any consciousness that we can bring to it is really good. Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely. I just wanted to hear your point of view. I mean, my background is conscious connected breath work.
Yeah, mine too.
When I started learning about what Patrick McKeown said, it was fascinating to think, oh, actually, you know, but his is obviously how we should be breathing, you know, most of the time, not when we're shifting things and doing conscious.
Yeah, he's very much focused on physical well-being. And there isn't anything about the kind of the emotional or the energetic benefits of different styles of breathing. It's purely about physical fitness, you know, physical health. So it's nothing about the subtler edges of breathing.
Yes,
But yeah, really good. So you've read The Oxygen Advantages. Has anyone else read it? Sarah or Luca or Joanna? I do really recommend it because the other thing that you can start to do, and this was like a huge light bulb moment for me. It's not just so much doing the breathing at night or just during the day. It was specifically before I started doing exercise. You know, I'd go out for a jog and normally I'd be there. Okay. And what he advises is don't do that. Keep your mouth shut, tape it, you know, really be conscious and just breathing through your nose. And what happens at first is it's excruciating. You know, it's so difficult, and you can manage about a fifth of what you can normally do. And the reason because of that is when you exhale through your mouth, you're blowing off carbon dioxide. You're blowing off excessive carbon dioxide. But when there's carbon dioxide in your blood, the more carbon dioxide there is in your blood, actually, the more oxygen your blood can take to your cells for respiration as well. So carbon dioxide is an essential component for respiration. So what he's saying is, if you close your mouth during respiration, you won't blow off as much carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide will stay in your blood. But that means your body will be able to bring more oxygen around your body. Now, having more carbon dioxide in your blood does have some other effects. It makes it slightly more acidic, which, you know, at first feels a bit strange. So by enabling your body to tolerate an increase in your blood acidity means you'll be able to have more carbon dioxide and therefore more oxygen. Now, this naturally happens to your body if you are at altitude. So when you exercise with your mouth closed, it's essentially simulating altitude training. Now, my personal experience of this, the first few times I started jogging like this, it was hell. It was awful. I couldn't go anywhere, and I was, you know, I just couldn't get enough oxygen in through my nose. But then after about 4 or 5 times of doing this, it suddenly, like, something changed, and I found I could run 3 or 4 times the distance that I could do before at a different speed. My body has started to tolerate the oxygen, and but basically being able to respire at a much more efficient level. So again, it's not something that you can, you expect to sort out in a long time, but I really encourage you as a kind of just general something to be aware of, just be conscious with how you are breathing when you're exercising. And if you can, breathe through your nose as much as possible, and just gently and slowly allow your body to get used to increased carbon dioxide levels, and therefore an increased oxygen efficiency. Lisa, go ahead.
So can I ask you, so it only took you 4 or 5 runs till you got used to that way of breathing? That seems super quick.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I'd say it was. Yeah, about 4 or 5 runs. I mean, it then got higher, my ability to run, but it was noticeable after 4 or 5 runs. I wasn't quite, it wasn't, I could go for longer. It wasn't quite so painful, I'd say.
Were you up to the distance that you were doing before then, when you were mouth breathing at that time then? Yeah,
and I'm not talking huge distance. Like, I'm not like a huge athlete or anything like that. I'm talking like 3 to 4 kilometers.
Yeah, well, that's enough in my book. But yeah,
20 minutes,
But then you were back to what you were doing, but doing it through the nose.
Yeah.
Quick.
So that's not so much like an exercise to do. It's just something to be aware of and to be conscious of as much as possible. It's just a great thing to try and train your body. I've become a bit of an evangelist for it now. In fact, I run a little interview show called Inspiring Interviews, where I interview well-known breathworkers about their stories, about how they become a breathwork facilitator. And I've actually got Patrick coming on the show in the week, not this week, but next week. So I've got him for an 1.5 hour interview, which I'm super excited about. He's going to be one of my biggest guests so far, actually. So I think that's a week.
How do we get to see that?
I've got a group called Inspiring Interviews. I'll put the Facebook link in here, actually. And
it's on Facebook then?
It's on Facebook. There's a private group.
I think I might have seen it, actually.
I do post about it. So if
I think somebody referred me to an interview there.
There's a YouTube channel for it as well. This is the Facebook. If you join that Facebook, I stream.
I think I might be already joined.
I stream the interviews into that Facebook group, but then I also put them into my YouTube channel as well. I'll post the YouTube channel up as well, because there's some great.
Yeah, I already joined that.
If you subscribe to this, then there's some great interviews on there. Anthony Abagnano from Alchemy of Breath is astonishing. Annie Langlois from Biodynamic Breathwork is her jaw-dropping stories. Lisa McNett is also amazing. So anyway, I'm not going to go too much into his techniques when I interview him. I like to hear the stories, but that'll be a great one. So that isn't an exercise. That's just a kind of awareness, and I can talk about the physiological aspects of this and the exact chemical processes, but it's a bit boring. If you really want to go nerdy about the science, I would encourage you to read the book. But just try and not breathe through your mouth, breathe through your nose. Any questions about that before we move on?
Oh, you interviewed Julianne.
I did, Julianne Horrocks. Do you know Julianne?
I do, yeah. They've just opened the page. Oh, I'll have to have a look at those.
Yeah, Julie's got a great story, actually.
Oh, I know the story.
How she went. So if you haven't, by the way, Julianne went from a Sunday school teacher to a drug dealer to a breathwork facilitator and guru. So the kind of the story and the arc of her life story is really great.
Oh, I'm gonna have to watch some of those.
She had all the ups and the downs. So any other questions around that? Basically, don't breathe through your mouth. Close your mouth, breathe through your nose. It's simple. It's not a difficult one. In fact, all of these exercises are really simple. They're nothing groundbreaking really about it. Simple and profound. Okay, well, moving on from that, I'm going to be coming back to Raluca, if that's okay, in a second, because one of the other aspects about nose breathing is an area, the only area in the body that nitrous oxide is produced. Nitrous oxide is one of the big things that sterilizes the air as it comes into your body. And it's produced just up here. And when we do bee breath, that stimulates the production of nitrous oxide. So it helps sterilize, and it has all sorts of other benefits. They only started discovering it. Joanna, you have to go. Thank you for being here. Pleasure to have you here. Yeah, so nitrous oxide, the only place that it is created. And then when we do bee breath, it actually stimulates that and creates more nitrous oxide. So I wondered, Raluca, would you be willing to lead us in some bee breath here? Sure, okay, I'll unmute you. There, you're unmuted.
Perfect. Do you want the full technique with covering the nose and the eyes and everything?
Sure, why not?
To really focus on the breath. So with your thumb, you'll cover your ear. Just lower down on the lobe, press right there from your head going into the ear. And then the two fingers are covering your eye. And then you have the ring finger under your nostril and the pinky on your chin there. Okay. So we are covering all our senses to be able to go within. Now here, inhale through your nose, and when you exhale, you hum like a bee. And recently, one of my Indian yoga instructor was saying N, the N sound instead of M, and by that you're stimulating the top of your mouth, the palate of your mouth, and then you vibrate higher. So inhale, and instead of M sound, you will say N sound. Inhale. And again, inhale. One more time, inhale. And probably you feel warm all over.
Amazing.
Or I hope so. You feel warm all over.
Wow, thank you for that. I love that. Does anyone have any questions around any of that? Sarah or Lisa?
No questions, but I love that humming beat, and also it's interesting what you said about the N sound rather than the M, because I've been playing with that a little bit when I do it sometimes anyway. So you can feel it in different ways, can't you?
I practiced it a couple of years with the M sound, and when she taught me with the N sound, it literally created for me in my body a difference. My body started getting warmer, and I am more aware of the vibrations are deeper for the N sound.
Yeah, it feels it to me. It's just that feels in a different place in my head, so I like it.
Yeah.
Amazing. Sarah, go ahead. You're unmuted. Oh, you might have to unmute yourself there.
And I've lost the picture. But I gather you can see me because you saw me just raise my hand.
Yes, we can see you, but you can't see us.
I can't see you. No, I completely missed that last exercise because I was fiddling around trying to sign in again. And it's not letting me back in. So, but
Okay.
that's probably because I'm already in. So anyway, never mind.
Anyway, you'll be able to watch this on catch up. So Raluca's was a real proper kind of, had a mudra hand kind of action around our face, and then making a humming N sound rather than just an M sound. You probably heard us.
Yeah, I did. I could hear. I just can't see you. I don't know. I don't know why.
So it is possible to do it just making that sound.
Right.
That N, that humming B sound or N sound will help physiologically, but then there's the other energetic benefits, the kind of pranayama side, by having the full kind of the mudra. Okay. Any other techniques or anything else we would like to share before we start to wrap up? Should we do something silly? Should we have some fun? I don't know how quiet it is where you are, but do you know what I fancy doing? As I said earlier, I've got some checking and I've got, a lot of steam. I think I'd like to let off a bit of steam. So I am going to lead us all in a Tarzan breath. Okay, this is where we get to feel our primal jungle nature, and we get to kind of feel our strength and how we are. Okay, I think we know what it looks like. Okay, so ready? And you can do it like as hard or as roary or as quiet, and just imagine yourself in a jungle somewhere, roaring out that you are the king of the world. Okay, so inhale. And then when you're ready, Thank you for that. I love doing that one. Okay, well, I think we're 1 hour and 20 minutes, so I think we should start to think about wrapping up this afternoon or this morning or this evening, wherever we are in our time zones. Is there anything else that needs to be said? Would anyone else like to check in or finish up with anything? In fact, let's do that. Let's say, how are we feeling right now? Yeah, what are we doing? Sarah, let's come with you first, as you're unmuted.
Have you unmuted me?
Yes, I have.
Okay, great. This is the bizarrest thing, being on Zoom and not being able to see anybody. Yeah, it's not been an experience. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. It's given me lots of techniques to use. I have started, when I'm walking, to walk, breathing through my nose. My Pilates instructor told me to do that, and it was very difficult to start with. It is getting easier. But it's been great, and I just wanted to say thank you very much.
A real pleasure, Sarah. Lovely to have you here, and thank you for coming along and such a great Tarzan at the end. Well, let's have we'll have some breaths at the end, actually. So, Lisa, what needs to be said from you before we start to?
Just thank you very much. I'm very grateful for your offering today. I've really enjoyed it, and I'm feeling more present, and it was great. Thank you.
Thank you. And how about you, Raluca?
Thank you. I didn't expect to guide anything today. Today was in the book to be taught by others, not to teach, but
I know, I'm a lazy teacher, Raluca. Get other people to teach, I will.
well, I enjoy it. Thank you so much.
And I really feel I'm really grateful for you guys to come along, because this is as much a learning experience for me, and we've obviously got some really experienced people here today, and I've learned something, so I feel really happy as well. So maybe let's just take a few breaths together before we finish up. So thank you, everyone. Please do connect with me if you like my Facebook page, or connect with me personally on Facebook. On the webpage, Make Some Breathing Space, there's links to all the other courses that I do, the foundation course, and now I'm about to launch my facilitator training course. The inspiring interviews, we do a conscious breathe every Thursday. There's all sorts of stuff on there. So please reach out and connect with me, and connect more with me, and breathe more, breathe everyone more, because that's what we're here for. I think that's all, really. Go on, Raluca.
Are you going to teach in Edmonton?
Yeah, I do already. Or I will as soon as I can.
But the facilitator course is going to happen in Edmonton?
The facilitator course is going to happen online, but I will be running live events in, do you know Above Average Yoga?
No, I don't know about that.
I will be teaching live events there, but the training, the facilitator training is online, because I don't know when I can do it.
And it's a breathwork facilitator?
Breathwork facilitator course.
Awesome.
If you find my webpage, makesomebreathingspace.com, you can just register your interest in there, and I'll send you a course outline.
Okay, thank you.
Fantastic. And Lisa, fantastic. Thank you for being here. Obviously, you're an experienced facilitator and breath worker as well. So great to have you here and your experience. And Sarah, just thank you so much for coming along and being part of this, and and being part of this. And to Joanna and Natalie, who had to leave earlier. And if you're watching this on Catch Up, this will be put onto the course. Have you signed up for the course on Rizuku?
I don't know what I signed up to.
Well, what I'm going to do then, just quickly, before we finish, I'm going to put this in the chat box, so you can find where this recording is kept, and some others, and then you can join in here.
On the YouTube one, is that?
It's not on YouTube. It's a sort of like it's my little training platform where I keep the course. It's a free course, so it's basically stuff like all the exercises and a few more that other people, and it's collaborative as well. So other people have added their own exercises to it. So if you've got some exercises that you want to record and add up to there, you can do that. I don't make any money from it. It's just because I want to increase people's lung health. So there's that. You should be able to see that little link, and it's an online course basically.
Thank you.
And I store the videos for here in there as well in the webinar section. Okay, well then guys, thank you so much for coming along today. Amazing. That was a great session, one of my favorites so far. Bye-bye.
That's been great. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.